images and videos, including highly disturbing pedophilia type of images and videos when I close my eyes. It also includes videos of violence sensation, so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture, including the threat of planted dreams and graphic images and videos, including
logically specialized for each target. Most common examples include homosexual targets that are forced with voices that are derogatory to their lifestyle and similar mental images. Almost all targets are forced to view child pornography in their minds. And vice versa is true.
Person is somebody trying to take over my mind, putting thoughts of pedophilia, this disgusting things. You saw where I was going with that first word. Disgusting things that I don't even want to talk about because it makes me sick. I don't even like those words in my mind. But it is what it is. So I have no choice now but to acknowledge that there are people in my surroundings or whatever they're doing. I don't know how they do it. I don't care.
The Inspector General of the Intelligence Community found that 2 officials from the National Reconnaissance Office, which oversees America's spy satellites, acknowledged viewing images of child sexual abuse during polygraph examinations. This is so disturbing. At a symposium in 2016, Daniel Payne, a top Pentagon security official, said that when workers' computers were examined, the amount of child porn I see is just unbelievable. Is this something that is happening for whatever reason with more frequency in our intelligence agencies, or is this something that is more pervasive in the general population than I originally realized? I mean, what's going on here? This is so bizarre and so evil.
Allie, we're told, and when I was put through recruitment into the intel community, you're put through polygraphs, you're put through a rigorous selection process. Why aren't these people weeded out? Why are so many pedophiles allowed to be given top-level security clearance? Remember, these aren't just people walking in off the street and saying, hey, can I get hired? Can I get a job? You're put through an extremely rigorous background check screening process. It's called an SSBI, single scope background investigation. There are people, they interview you, they interview your family, they interview your contacts, they go through your online footprint, they go through everything. So why is it that when they're going through these footprints, they're not checking, these digital footprints, they're not checking for so many pedophiles getting through their ranks? If it were up to me, you need to go into Congress, and Congress needs to launch a brand new church committee, number one, to talk about domestic surveillance operations, but number two, to ask the question, why are there so many pedophiles sitting behind those computer screens within the walls of Langley, within the Pentagon, and throughout the broader intelligence community?
For just 60.
Right? So one thing they like to call me is I'm their pedo. Is a way to right? So one thing they like to call me is I'm their pedo. Is a way to they do things and say things to counter reality, right? the reality that they're in is something they want to block out, right? The reality is they do these things where they manipulate people in these disturbing ways, and that's their job. Their job is to do these degrading things to target individual. It's part of the human experimentation where they apply this technology that can override and do horrible things to you, and they try to create this false persona to dehumanize and make that target individual um kind of lose the self-esteem and who they are, the self-image. They create this persona which consists usually of pedophilia ways of some kind of pedophilia centric persona, and they do these nasty things where they manipulate people in different fashion and then create narrations of different fashion that are far from reality, and they call that being a war. They call this being a war because their war consists of creating a new reality. Their war is to create a fantasy that they put together to implement onto this target individual while doing these manipulations of the body, of the mind, and all the surroundings. And they just observe, manipulate, and change this target individual till the end, right? And that's their job. But when they call you the pedo, and they like to call it, that's not fair. It's not fair. It's unfair. It's because as you can see, all the obvious patterns here is there's a pattern of pedophilia, not only in the way they manipulate people, but also in the people really in charge of this program. Right? At this point, it's obvious that this is a human experimentation program where they implement this torment and this technology onto citizens or civilians, I should say, and just basically manipulate them. This is not a war, right? This is far from a war. If anything, if you see the outfit they have while they're doing this, is you understand that it's far from that. But it's a program that experiment on people onto people, and of course the end goes death. But it's not just to kill somebody; it's just to break them down and change them and try to make them accept these manipulations. As they do these things, they want them to accept these manipulations as if it's them, but reality is just not. It's just somebody being manipulated to think in this way, and they try to do everything possible to counter reality. Now, reality is also that they're not only in a program that manipulate people and do these nasty things, but there's also a lot of pedophilia going on there. This article from BuzzFeed exposed this intelligence community for having a lot of pedophiles. Where you hear that person talk about why, with all the background check they do. This is now, we're not talking about just like a job, a regular job where they just, no, we're talking about intelligence community that have access to almost everything. And so when they hire these people, they obviously know that these people have some kind of, they're pedophiles. They obviously know these things. We're not talking about just a regular job, 9 to 5. We're talking about people who are going to handle a lot of very sensitive information, a lot of things that shouldn't be, So they know a lot about everybody who handles these things, especially to that level. We're not talking about even just, we're talking about like DARPA. We're talking about CIA. We're talking about DOD. We're talking about some of the most secretive things that they have to handle. And so, of course, this Asians are properly reviewed, properly. They know exactly everything about them. And you see that these people then try to, like, because obviously there's a bunch of CIA. CIA is one of the most secretive agencies. So of course that level of they know everything about it, in every agent, everything possible they know because of the level of secrecy that agency is. But it's not only in the CIA. I was just showing this document that was released. It was released in 2021, but of course the information is old. They're not going to list the latest stuff, right? They're going to provide the old stuff because obviously they don't want to provide all that information because it could be compromising. But they also caught somebody in DARPA, right? Now these people like to try to change agency every time something bad is said about an agency. Right now the FBI, before they're CIA, then they're going to change. They were FCC, but there's one thing for sure they're using here is directed energy, right? Directed energy is improved by DARPA. DARPA is the agency in charge specifically in the research and development of the highest technological devices. And as you can see in the article, there was this program manager who was caught, and it was not even really, they weren't really try to catch him. He was caught downloading child porn on his computer because as they do this routine computer check where they make sure they don't have any viruses, they find some pedophilia stuff, some child porn on his computer. He wasn't even trying to hide it. They weren't even like trying to like, they were not like, oh, so let's look for a child. No, no, they were just doing some routine virus check on his computer, and of course child porn on his government computer, on his computer, his work computer, as you can see. So you understand, to that level, like it's not even his personal computer, his work computer, the computer that was given to him by DARPA, where there's stuff about whatever technology he's working. And it's not anybody. As you can see, the way they break down like hierarchy in those DARPA agency, in that DARPA agency, is by, so there's program manager for each different program. And according to DARPA, which obviously they're not gonna say everything, there's about 200 programs, right? But obviously there's definitely much more than what they're providing, because this direct energy that they're working on is experimented on human beings, on civilians, on people who can protect themselves. And so we are just subject to this technology that they're creating, they're developing. And the perps around me are supposed to create this fantasy and this la la land where they are paid by the government. I'm sure that DoD is the funding entity providing the funds, basically, because this kind of financial aspect can only be provided by an entity like DoD, right? And this trash next to me, their job is to just to break down the target individual as they're assigned to do, right? And they're supposed to make the target individual accept this manipulation as if it's him. Now, this issues with pedophilia is something that shows what kind of people these people are. They talk about, we are I'm their pedos, right? They are working for their pedophiles are the people empowering them, in a sense that they're the one providing the financial aspect that they need, the technology that they're utilizing. This is coming from entities filled with pedophiles. I mean, you hear these people, I mean, they're not child porn on the government. Like, it's just, they don't care. And it's not one here and there too. Like, it's a pattern of issues with pedophilia in these agencies, in these entities. And they're trying to make it sound like, oh no, we there, it's not fair. It's very fair, because what makes it fair to me is, as they try to make you believe this nastiness, this pedophilia manipulation, they are actually working for pedophiles. And so you see them for what they are. As they try to make themselves be like this different entity, people just protecting the community. They try to do these things. And then, and it's funny, they try to block out sometime with, because I was putting these things together, like, oh, this girl high school, like, try to go into like the things they try to put together, and the random things, just try to escape reality, right? It's telling their stories and putting things together in this weird manipulative ways of just nonsensicalness, and try to get you to accept this persona, where in reality with me it's just a different level. Because not only this BuzzFeed article comes out showing there's a bunch of pedophiles in these agencies, of course, then this is all the different technology, the different ways of manipulating people. They've been using this pedophilia type of torture, right? You hear these people saying almost all target individual, meaning almost all people who are being subject to these manipulations are subject to this pedophilia type of tormenting. So it's not even unique to me. It means that almost everybody who is in this program manipulated by this technology has this pedophilia type of tormenting, which is the case for me and many others. So they don't even, it's not unique in the sense that they're very the same. They're very protocolic. I don't know if it's a word. They're very systematic, I would just say, that they use this pedophilia type of torture. And then you hear that other people saying the same thing, the pedophilia type of torture. You hear petition people saying symptoms consist of pedophilia, remote pedophilia, all different fashion of pedophilia centric ways of manipulations, all kinds. And and with me, they were trying to put together their little patterns as just so falsified and manipulative and looped up and created and create consist of falsifications, or talk about, in 2014 you follow, like, it's just nonsensical, while they actually work for pedophiles, right, with consistent patterns of pedophilia, with actual pedophilia patterns. And with me, I get the other layer of the people who put me in this program spend money on an alleged pedophile that was allegedly picking up kids from the YMCA when he was an assistant DA. right? And they can't even say his name. For me, they try to like come up with things they put together. Also talk about, oh, you remember you followed this person in 2014, or this person you saw, or how old is she? And then try to make up their age and try whoever they can try to create is on the age, whatever. It consists of just manipulations. So when they say they're pedos, the reality is they work for pedophiles. They are very pedophile centric. They force you to have the experience toward children that are so disgusting and sexual, from the babies to even older kids. Obviously, there's different extremes. The babies is the extreme. The older kids is not as extreme as the babies, but it's still disgusting. And they do this. And others have said that they do this program perversion aimed toward children, young people. And that's the case for me. For me, the babies are the nastiest things they can do to me. But that's what they do. They work for pedophiles. They do this pedophile type of torture, and they want you to subscribe to this pedophile type of torture. But not to end there. They actually torture children too. These people have no law. They are cowards in every sense. They are the low life in every sense. They are, the bottom feeders in every sense. But understand that the technology is that sophisticated. The sophistication of this weapon is incredible. It literally rewire your brains. It really dumbs you down. It just completely remove your logic, controls you, control your movement, control everything is manipulated. And you have these people here who are just the trash, truly trash. They are trashing people, and they want to live their fantasy. And with me, I'm here to continuously make as many videos as I can until I can't, because I know what they're doing to me is gonna be it's horrible already, but it's gonna be worse. Just like they said that to Mariana, the woman that you heard earlier. And I know there'll be probably an end to this, but it was gonna be a lot of torture. But at the end of the day, I keep telling myself, and I keep understanding that I could live their life. Imagine living their life. If I live their life right now, if my day in and day out had to consist of me dumbing myself down, doing these nasty things day in and day out, calling war when in reality it's not war, it's human experimentation. But having to dumb myself down to that level, force somebody to think in these disturbing pedophile ways, and think this is winning, when in reality I work for torture pedophiles. I do the pedophile type of torture. I rewire people in the nastiest ways. I manipulate people, and I talk about somebody being raped and tortured and all that. And this is my highlights. That's the satisfaction. Looking forward to somebody's torture as if it's gonna make me less better living. It's gonna make me live better. It's gonna make me enjoy life better. No, I'm just being a trash for living, and I'm trashing people. And I've been exposed for being part of a program that does horrible things to even children. And now I'm supposed to block that out and counter it. No, I'm just thankful. So whatever I'm going to go through, first of all, I'll never subscribe to these nasty manipulations of my mind, this persona they've put together, knowing exactly that these people can't even speak about this pedophile that was picking up kids in the YMCA. That's just, and that's just like a cherry on top of a lot of cherries, meaning that, they have to block us so much. I put this, like when I put like this like talk show talking about this man, they don't even know what to say. They get frustrated, they get mad, as if like like as if I'm like doing something wrong to them. And they talk about how I'm gonna be raped and tortured. I'm like, listen, I'd rather get raped than live your life. They live a miserable life and they don't even know it. They enjoy the satisfaction of controlling me and manipulating me and seeing what's gonna happen to me, but their life is unstopped. It's not moving right now. They're just watching me die. What a miserable life. And they, of course, they're just gonna come. They tell me I'm right in hell as if they're living in heaven. These people are living in misery and they don't even know it. They are living in embarrassment and humiliating ways. They don't want to be seen. When they be seen, this is what happens. You see them in my short videos and see, look at these people investigating. A bunch of pedophiles and low life. They don't even want to be seen at this point. Not because they're scared of me, it's because they don't want to be seen for what they're part of. It's humiliating because there's no way to counter reality when it's that obvious. So to all my target individuals, stay strong and know that that justice will be done for what they've done, what they're involved in, and how embarrassing they had to live. They trash. They have been trashing me and trashing many others, and maybe even, I mean, some of them have done to some of the most vulnerable people. We're talking about children being tortured by this trash and calling being mean. But of course, when they do what they do in this fashion, or using this director energy, it takes away a little bit of it's easier to do these things because you're just sitting down in your comfortable clothings and just torture somebody slowly. You just chilling, maybe getting coffee, and it's very easy. It's not like you have to be facing the same room doing this thing, so they can easily do that to a woman and child and dehumanize that moment, make it seem like these people are not even real people, and it's quote unquote they are the real people. They like to call me a nothing, and I'm like, if you could just hear what it sounded like when you said that, because they are truly the nothings. They are truly nothings and weak people in different fashion. Weak physically, some of them. Weak mentally, a lot of them. I mean, most of them. Most of them mental weakness, especially. Physically, everybody can get strong. That's good for them. But mentally, they are just disgustingly weak cowards. I'm thinking about this next door neighbor. This guy, he's a young guy, maybe mid 20s or whatever, very healthy looking, strong looking guy, but he's a weak piece of shit. And I'm sorry for using this language, and I see him as that. Because he's involved in a program that does horrible things to children and women and do this perfect type of torture, and he's supposed to dumb himself down. And they tell me, "Oh, I'm going to fight." It's like, okay, I'll fight then. But I'd rather fight with dignity and be part of a program than being part of a program that does these things to even children and babies, renowned for their perfect type of torture and filled with pedophiles working on top of them. Agents and DARPA program managers, pedophiles all through these agencies, and you just work for them, and you came and speak about this pedophile that was picking up kids as an assistant DA, and you're here trying to make me subscribe to these pedophile things that you work day in and day out. That's your job. That's your dedication right now. And they try to sound menacing when they talk to me via V2K. Oh, you pay. Oh, okay. And they do. It's so nasty, programming somebody in these nasty ways. So to all my target individual, I will continuously make videos until I can speak. I know it's becoming harder and harder for me to speak. So I understand there'll be an end for that. But in the meantime, I will continue to say the things that need to be said, and hope that you guys stay strong, because I'm going to do the same, and continue to document everything that's happening.
The Inspector General of the Intelligence Community found that two officials from the National Reconnaissance Office, which oversees America's spy satellites, acknowledged viewing images of child sexual abuse during polygraph examinations. This is so disturbing. At a symposium in 2016, Daniel Payne, a top Pentagon security official, said that when workers' computers were examined, the amount of child porn I see is just unbelievable. Is this something that is happening for whatever reason with more frequency in our intelligence agencies, or is this something that is more pervasive in the general population than I originally realized? I mean, what's going on here? This is so bizarre. Remember, it's so evil.
Ali, we're told, and when I was put through recruitment into the intel community, you're put through polygraphs, you're put through a rigorous selection process. Why aren't these people weeded out? Why are so many pedophiles allowed to be given top-level security clearance? Remember, these aren't just people walking in off the street and saying, hey, can I get hired? Can I get a job? You're put through an extremely rigorous background check screening process. It's called an SSBI, single scope background investigation. There are people, they interview you, they interview your family, they interview your contacts, they go through your online footprint, they go through everything. So why is it that when they're going through these footprints, they're not checking, these digital footprints, they're not checking for so many pedophiles getting through their ranks? If it were up to me, you need to go into Congress, and Congress needs to launch a brand new church committee, number one, to talk about domestic surveillance operations, but number two, to ask the question, why are there so many pedophiles sitting behind those computer screens within the walls of Langley, within the Pentagon, and throughout the broader intelligence community?
Person is somebody trying to take over my mind, putting thoughts of pedophiles, like this disgusting things. You saw where I was going with that first word. Disgusting things that I don't even want to talk about because it makes me sick. I don't even like those words in my mind. But it is what it is. So I have no choice now but to acknowledge that there are people in my in my surroundings or whatever they're doing. I don't know how they do it. I don't care.
Logically specialized for each target. Most common examples include homosexual targets that are forced with voices that are derogatory to their lifestyle and similar mental images. Almost all targets are forced to view child pornography in their minds. And vice versa is true, that heterosexual targets are
graphic images and videos, including highly disturbing pedophilia type of images and videos when I close my eyes. It also includes videos of violence sensation, so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture, including the threat of planted dreams and videos in my closed eyes.